I'm going to show you today how to change the impeller on a Volvo Penta V6, which should be fun because I've never done it before. But I got a workshop manual and an owner's manual, and looks like a piece of cake. So we're going to give that a shot. Step one, go get your boat. All right, materials. So I've got the impeller kit, which comes with a new impeller, and also an O-ring and some new bolts and washers, and got a little packet of grease, impeller lubricant here, socket set, so we're going to need an 8mm socket. Got some needle nose and some channel locks in case we need to manhandle the old impeller to get it out. Some nitrile gloves, because that's the new school way of doing things. Us 80s kids remember getting our hands dirty, but we'll wear the gloves today. And then just a plastic bag to place the old impeller in so we don't make a mess when we're taking things away. All right, so we have a closed cooling system here. So what happens is we've got our coolant in here that circulates through the engine, and then we've got down here, that's where our impeller is. We're gonna take that cover off and get the impeller out, but that's what sucks up the seawater and brings it through the system. And then we've got our heat exchanger here, where the coolant and the seawater perform the heat exchange. All right, I'm gonna take this plate off, and my expectation is we'll see some water come out of here as we start to take it off. Get these loosened a little bit here. 8mm socket, like I mentioned. These aren't very tight to start with. Pretty easy here. Oop. This is a little harder to do while holding a camera, by the way. Yep, here comes some water. So I'm not going to loosen that all the way just yet. I'll let some water drain out of there. There, now it's flowing. All right, I'm gonna let that drain and then we will resume. All right, I took the cover off and I ended up wanting one other tool that I didn't show at the beginning. So I grabbed a small screwdriver so I can get those old O-rings out. You can see one there, so I'm just gonna pull those out of there with a screwdriver. Okay, there's the impeller. That's what we gotta pull out of there. They make a tool you can use, apparently, that's threaded and threads into it, and then you can pull it out. I'm just gonna use a pair of needle nose pliers to grab one of the fins there and pull it out of there. So I'm gonna do that now, and then we'll compare it to the brand new one. I can already see the fins are all warped there. All right, famous last words about this being an easy job. So had some trouble getting the impeller out. So I don't have the puller tool from Volvo Penta, but what I do have is a 3/4 inch bolt I got at Home Depot that should be able to thread in there, and then I'll have something to help me pull the impeller out of there. So that's what I'm going to attempt now.
That was brutal getting that thing out of there, but I got it. You can see I threaded the bolt in, used my vice grips to grab the bolt up top, which obviously I'm not worried about those threads up there, because if I was, that would be a stupid move. And there's the impeller. So we can see that it's all deformed and definitely ready for a change. This is what the new one looks like for reference. So straight fins versus warped fins. So we'll put some grease on the shaft
and slide the new one in there. All right, I got the new one in there. It's actually almost as hard to get the new one in as taking the old one out. Ended up pushing it on there probably about halfway. Then I tapped it in with a rubber mallet to get it all the way in. Cool. Now it's just time to put the cover back on, and then we'll fire up the motor and make sure everything's working.
I got the new screws and lock nuts and O-rings all attached to the cover, you can see there. And then I've got the O-ring, main O-ring, loose fit on there, so I'm just gonna slide the cover over it and screw everything down. All right, finished product. So now I'm gonna put the muffs on the motor and turn it on, make sure some water gets. All right, so the impeller is changed and we're running and we're sucking water through it.